It's an international break, as we know, and the U.S. men's national team, they have some big, big games, not just this window, but the next window. I mean, we're 46 days away from the start of the World Cup. And when you look at the schedule coming up, it kicks off with a big one Friday in a stadium I know very well, Austin, Texas, Q2 Stadium, side of the Open Cup final. Tony, you were there against Ecuador. And then the following week against Australia. And it gets really interesting because you're getting a little bit of CONMEBOL flavor. Paraguay in mid-November and Uruguay, that's a big one against Marcelo Bielsa's side. But as it pertains to this U.S. men's national team side, Tones, and I'm going to start with you. We've heard from Mauricio Pochettino in a recent press conference where he said the magic words I think we've all been looking for, that the experimentation is going to be over. So since he said that, should we be judging him, or is it right to judge him with the results moving forward?
Look, I think results are important all the time because you want to build a winning mentality. But Mauricio Pochettino doesn't lose his job or get judged on what he does here in October. But I'm always one of those guys. It's important to learn how to win. It's important to learn, how to figure out games in game, right? And you've got some really good opponents. Like you look at the next two, just Ecuador and Australia. These are two teams that could be in your group, right? Because you're not going to have all South American teams. You're not going to have all European teams. So this is sort of a mini World Cup group, and an Ecuador side that clearly they're going to be tested in the attacking part of the field because this team can defend. Best defending team in CONMEBOL, right? Maybe one of the best defending teams in the world. Now, Caicedo won't be there, but that doesn't change the theory of how they want to go about things. So really, I think really important two windows for Mauricio Pochettino for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah. We want to see results. We want to see wins. But like you said, it's about that process. We want to see them learn to figure it out. Ecuador is a really huge match for me, specifically because of the way they play. They're so physical. They're in your face. They never stop working. And what's the biggest thing we've asked for from this U.S. men's national team? Sweat. Sweat for the shirt, bleed for the shirt. And against an Ecuador team that will do that, we're going to see what this U.S. men's national team is made of.
Yeah, look, Mauricio Pochettino, Mike said yesterday, I believe, in the press conference, Christian basically is our best player, right? This is the guy we're going to lean on. He told us in that interview that he needed a break. And what I said was, I can't argue with a guy who says he needs a break. It's not necessarily what I would have done or maybe what you would have done or you would have done. And we might not like it, but who am I to tell Christian Pulisic what he feels like on the day? He did back it up with saying, I'm doing this because when Milan season starts and when I get back to the national team, I want to be at 100%. I want to be full go. So he's we're looking at it now and going, oh, this kind of played out the way so far that Christian Pulisic thought it was going to play out. So kudos to him. He understood his body. I get not every guy, and when I say guy, I say ex-national team player that was in my spot agreed with him, right? I just said, I don't live in his shoes. I don't know what he's going through. And I thought he was very honest in that interview, which of course lit Twitter up and the rest of the world up because that's what social media does. But it's starting to play out just the way he wanted it to play out. So that's a good sign.
Agree or disagree with Christian Pulisic's decision? The facts remain that he's played a ton of minutes. He has had a ton of injuries, and he might have realized that he did need that break. And now you look at his numbers, you look at the way, the energy that he's playing with, the passion. This Milan team depends on him. If it's Christian Pulisic and who's going to be with him? That's what the discussion is when we talk about AC Milan. It's who is going to partner Christian Pulisic, not will he get into this team. Right now is Pulisic's time. Now he just has to stay healthy and keep this form up.
You could argue that Christian Pulisic has been the best player in Serie A this season, and whoever wants to fight me, fight Tony. He's my bodyguard.
I'm right here with you, bro. We got it. We'll hold it down.
One thing we don't fight about is the formation. And we heard yesterday from Mark McKenzie about the difference between a 3-4-3 and a 4-3-3. Now, Tones, break it down for me. How does this U.S. team function, or what would it look like in either formation?
Well, we use the guys in camp that are currently there, right? So this is the formation we've seen most from Mauricio Pochettino, right? And playing with four in the back. Matt Freese seems like he's the guy that has kind of won the job now, and we think we're going to go that way. This is the formation I think that so many of us want to see a little bit more of. My rationale behind playing three in the back with two wing backs is that I think the toughest positions in this formation are wing backs. Now we've known we've had Anthony Robinson for a while. We were kind of waiting for Sergino Dest to come back. He's now not here because of some fatigue. We got Alex Freeman, who we saw, who can also play here. We got Timothy Weah, who's played here, as well as multiple other positions. So we have, and let me throw in Max Arston as the backup to Anthony Robinson. I don't want to forget him because he's more of a winger than he is playing in this position. Now, Anthony Robinson, he can play either of these formations, right? So I think we have the hardest pieces to the puzzle. And then when you have question marks about your center backs, no question mark about Chris Richards. Yeah. I think we all agree, right? Chris Richards is a lockdown starter for this team. What he's doing at Crystal Palace is amazing. Tim Ream has been the guy. He's been the captain for Mauricio Pochettino. But I think when you have sort of some questions about your center backs and you go with 3, it makes it so much easier. Now, what does it do for your team? It takes out a midfielder, right? Tyler Adams is not here in this camp because good luck to him. They're having another child. So he misses out on the camp. I think the question is who partners with Tyler Adams in the midfield. We're going to see Tessman this camp. We're going to see Weston McKennie there, who's also versatile. And then what I think this has done is unlock this position, these 2 positions here. Christian now in this position has room to roam, right? And Alex Zendejas, who we saw against Japan with a great goal, but goal aside, he was really good. I think it unlocks his best qualities. So I prefer to see more of this than this, mainly because we've seen enough of this. When we saw this for 20 minutes against South Korea, and then when we saw it against Japan, I thought it looked really good.
100%. This formation, the 3-4-3, plays to the U.S.'s best strengths. You talked about the wing-back position, the wings. The wingers that we have are kind of hybrid wingers. They're not just out-and-out front 3 players. They're not just out-and-out wing-backs. A lot of them have played at fullback. A lot of them have played at wingback. A lot of them have played further up the pitch. So especially for an Anthony Robinson and Tim Weah who love to get up and down but also have the work rate to play on both sides of the ball, it's perfect for them. Chris Richards, Tim Ream, Mark McKenzie, that 3 complements each other so well. Tim Ream doesn't have the pace, but the reading of the game. Chris Richards, his strength, his winning of the ball in the air. McKenzie as well. The back 3 just provides so much security and confidence as a unit. And then you talk about the freedom that the front 3 will have. Those 2 players behind the striker, Pulisic, whether it's Tillman, whether it's Zendejas, they will have the ability to interchange midfielders running through. Tim Weah won't necessarily have to feel like he has to track back every single time because he's got defenders back. Well, the balance is the most important.
With regard to Tim Weah, he has proven he can play there, not just for Juve, but for Marseille. Yeah. Can also go on either side if Anthony Jair Robinson needs a bit of a break. But Tones, it's all about keys. So you have 3 keys to the U.S. to have success against Ecuador.
Well, we just touched on the first one, right? Work more in this 4-2-3-1 because I think it's successful. For me, we don't have a guy that completely controls the midfield with the ball, right? That is, we call those kind of players the metronome, right? The guy that dictates the pace of the game. Yeah, and Luka Modric is, well, not a lot of people. So let's say, citizenship. Go back in time. So continue to work on this. I hope Mauricio Pochettino wants to get a better look at this because I still think it's one of his best periods as a manager seeing this formation. More consistent attack. The one thing we haven't seen is sustained attack throughout games, right? Especially against the good teams. I go back to Switzerland. Who else did they play in that? Well, Turkey in that window. Yeah. Against Mexico, right? We didn't see sustained attack. So can we have moments of the game where we're feeling like we're going to score a goal? And take some of the Gold Cup. No disrespect to some of those teams, but we dominated some of those teams. More of that in the attack. And I think that's going to be a priority for Mauricio Pochettino. And then figure out the press. I don't think we're a pressing team. When I watch those big teams, I feel like they pick us apart too easily. So if we are going to be a pressing team, let's figure out how we're going to press, where we're going to press. I think we're better off in that with the wingbacks sitting back and letting Balogun, Pulisic, Zendejas, Weah, Anthony Robinson fly forward and counterattacks. To do that, you can't press because then you eliminate the room in behind the defense. So these, for me, are 3 keys. These are the 3 things I should say I'll be looking at in this camp to see which we kind of get closer to looking like we want to be.
We need a future graphic, Uncle Tone's 3 keys. Quickly, prediction, scoreline against Ecuador?
Ooh, Ecuador. Tough game.
I think we lose 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a one-goal game. I don't think it's not going to be a high-scoring game, I don't think. But it'll be a one-goal game one way or the other.